Aussies Part 2, and we're going to pretend like we're at the show and we're getting ready to go in the ring. This is the product, the Self-Rinse Plus, that I'm going to use, and I always do paws first. So I'm going to take a rag. I have a small bottle, and what this does is cleans and whitens up the paws. So you just spray it on, kind of suds it up, good and wet, and then as you can see, and I would also do his front if he had some dirt here. I'm not going to go through a lot again because we're pressed for time, but I would also do his front. So second paw, spray it on, good and wet, it's cold, soap it up, get that paw good and soapy and wet. This does not need to be rinsed. And again, dry it, move to the rear, the same thing. Lift it up. It brightens and whitens the white. And again, he's not going to look quite as clean as he would, or quite as white, because he had his bath last week. But again, soaping it up, using the rag, and then taking it, I'll usually take, wet a little bit, and go down the face, especially if they have white on the face. Just kind of damp wipe them. He has dirt here, so I would clean all that off before I was showing him, and clean his eyes. Then I'm going to take, this is plain water, and it's warm enough here today to do this, and I'm going to spray him down, lifting up. I want to get his legs, the feathering, I want to get those wet. I want to get underneath and get his ruff real good, down to his chest, his legs, his collar. Get him to stand up. And since Aussies are double coated, we have to use our hands to get, we want to get them pretty wet. So his breeches, and I just kind of run through with my hands to make sure we're getting him good and wet here. You can't really get them too wet, and if they start to dry up after you've done feet, you can always re-wet them, so it's no big deal. It's just plain warm water I'm using right now. Okay, I'm going to leave this out because I'm probably going to need it again. The next thing I'm going to do is foam up his feet. This is the product that I use. It's by BioGroom. I use a lot of BioGroom products called Super Foam. I'm going to use about that much, and I'm going to put it his paws and all the way through his feathering. Going to do the next side. Stand him up. Not quite as much on the back. Same thing with paw. I'm generous with it. The paw and the hocks. And now I'm going to start drying. Once I start drying, it's going to be hard to hear me. You always want to dry the paws up. The motion is up because you want to pull the fur up again. We want it to look good. We want to look like bone, and the feathering, you're going to use a back and forth motion. So you'll be able to see me what I'm doing, but I won't be able to really narrate. So here we go with the dryer, and we do feet first. Since we're pressed for time, you want to make the feet should be completely dry. Your next step is you should have chalk, and I like to use a product that's called Fairy Dust by Plush Puppy. So first we need something that the chalk will stick to. There's several different products available, and Thick and Thicker is a product you'll see everyone using. It's a stiff hairspray. The judges do not like to feel a lot of stiffness in the coat, especially with the Aussie. But I'm going to go ahead and spray this on the feet. It's a stiff hold, and it won't matter so much. And then I'm going to take my brush the feet up, and don't worry about extra chalk because you'll blow that off at the end. So I want that chalk to kind of set in there with the spray that I've used, keeping it on the white areas, and then stop. I would be, if we were really in a show right now, I would be taking my time a little bit more, going slower, and paying a lot closer attention to detail. But I'm just trying to give everyone an idea. So I'm going to get my scissors again, and I'm going to come back and take a quick look. And I can see a couple places where he needs a little more cut on the feet. I did his nails while we took a break. If you're careful and once you get used to knowing what you're doing, you can come in at this point with straight scissors. But you do need to be careful because once you cut it, you can't put it back. I'm going to brush up the hocks. I sprayed those. And you can see his feet are looking good. His feathering is going to be combed kind of in an angle. And again, I would go all the way around. Stand up, Sonny. Stand up. He's gotten lazy since he's retired. And I would fix all these pieces so that the line of the foot, Sonny, stop. Stop. The line of the foot, the fur, you want it to be right to the pad of the foot so there's no fur overhang. So it's a clean, even line. So you're going to go around with straight scissors and clean that up. Now let's move to the body. We've got that partially wet. I'm just going to dampen it up a little bit more. Most of the dogs, the products that you'll be using will be a product called Coat Handler, and I can give you more information about that. It's a non-sticky conditioning type product, that just helps the coat lay smooth and flat. There's a variety of products. I'm a real product user, but I do think we overgroom Aussies, and the scissoring in the ring now is getting, I mean, it's ridiculous. You can see so much scissoring. We're not supposed to be a scissored breed. So I'm going to go through and get this deep in his coat. Again, this is Coat Handler. And then I have other products that I use on animals that are out of coat. And just ask me about those and I can share those with you that need volume. He doesn't. I'm using the same stuff that I used on his paws, the super foam. And I'm going to put that in his ruff, and then I'm going to put it back behind here. So the position of the dryer when we dry him is important because that's going to give us the final lay of this coat. So when I begin, I'm going to go up on the ruff and then down, and at the back, you always want to go quick strokes side by side down the middle, and then quick strokes side by side here. So that's what I'll be doing. So that the dryer does not get that. Since Sonny is And I have a product that I use for Sunny that I don't have to use for Rico, but it's called Get It Straight. And it's a coat polish and hair dressing. You put a little bit in your hands, and just when you're at the end of drying, you put it through. And I also have some other tricks that I'd be happy to share too. I'm going to get a brush. We're going to brush the rough down. He's not quite dry. You want him to be fairly dry. And we have a chamois that we use, and I'll talk about that with those that are interested. You want to make sure that you brush under the belly, the hairline that comes out from the belly. You want to make sure that the feathering, you want to make sure that as he was sitting down, we're going to be checking our hocks and brushing those up and then going back and trimming. The breeches want to fall straight. This is brushed down. Stop sitting down, Sonny. Stop. So I'm going to put the dryer back on now. At this point, if we were getting ready to go in the ring, I would be doing my final touches. Again, make sure you're using your brush. Here it is. And as you can see, if we look at him, I can see where he needs some trimming. So I would be doing that. Just a light mist, and then we're almost using the hairspray and almost brushing it out again. And we use chamois, and we get them wet and wring them out, and then put them across the top of the coat. And that's something that I would use with Sunny before I went in the ring. That would keep that curl and wave. Again, although that's perfectly fine per our standard, it's not preferred to see that type of grooming in the AKC ring. So I'm brushing his breeches down, hocks up, checking, and I'm going to put him on a leash and take him in the yard so we can see our work. Again, just so we understand, if he was getting ready to go in the show ring, I would be trimming, as you can see, these hairs here. They would be between the straight, like the loose ones like that sticking out. I would use a straight scissors and I would go over those again. I would go over the paw. You can see these little hairs sticking out. All that would be done. Make sure that his feathering looks good. His belly hair has no gnats. And this is their tuck right in here. So we kind of want to brush that in, especially Sonny's gained some weight in retirement. So if he was going in the ring, I would really want to brush that in so it looked like he had a nice tuck. And his curl is starting to come back, so I definitely would use my chamois. I would do a little bit more on his ears, I think. He's starting to get gray hair already. And then I would just run my hands to make sure that I didn't feel a lot of product, because again, the judges don't want to feel tons of product. Let me get him on the leash. Wait. And we'll walk him out in the yard where you can appreciate him just a little bit more. Wait a minute. Need to fix that right there. Okay, come on. Sorry. You have it fixed? Very good. And I think we can all see the difference between when he first came out here on the table unbrushed. Like I would brush this down, smooth this down a little bit. He looks fabulous. Sonny, you look great. Thanks for watching IndigoMoon Aussies.